Hey, what's up guys? I'm Lincoln and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the third video in our FlutterFlow for Beginners 10-part series where I help you get going on your FlutterFlow journey so you can start building cross-platform apps on FlutterFlow. This is the one that you've been waiting for. By the end of this video, you'll know how to build a cool homepage for a travel app just like this. If you've watched the last video where we went over rows, columns, and all the other layout elements, then I'm sure you'll be pretty confident with applying this layout. If you haven't watched it, then I suggest you pause this video, go and watch the last video, then come back so you can follow along. This app was designed by one of the Figma community members, and here's a pro tip for you guys. If you ever need inspiration for an app or any kind of web project, then just go to the Figma community, type in what it is you're looking for, and 9 out of 10 times you will leave there feeling inspired. They do have some free templates for you guys, so it's easy to get going. Okay, so I've linked the design in the description below. You guys can go and find it so that you can follow along properly. Alright, let's start building our app screen. I want to start by changing the primary color to the one that's on the design. I'm going to leave it on the screen here. I've also included all the images for you guys to just download and follow along with me properly. So the next thing I'm going to do is go to our media assets. I'm going to upload those images so that we have them readily accessible in our project. Okay, now that that's done, it's time to start building. When you look at the design, can you guess the first widget that will drag onto our screen? If you guess the column, then you got that correct. We're going to start by adding a column onto our page. Next up, we're going to add a row. We're going to give this row some padding, 36 at the top, 16 on the sides. The first thing we're going to add in the row is an icon, which will give a size of 32. This icon will be sort rounded. Okay, next up we have text. This text has a size of 22 and 600 semi-bold. Next up we have a stack, which I'll just drag and drop. I'll give it a defined width of 40 and a defined height of 40. Next, we'll have some space between all the widgets. In the stack, I'll start by adding a container. I'll give it a width and height of 32 each. I'll then move this container to the bottom right corner. Give it a border radius of 50. Let me zoom in so you guys can see it properly. I'll then give it a bit of elevation just so that it pops out from the screen more. There we go. In this container, I'll add a circle image for the profile image. I'll give it a padding of 2 all around. Now remember, we uploaded our images, so this should be the first image. Up next, we'll add another container to our stack. Give it a width and height of 14. We'll also give it a border radius of 50 to make it a circle. Move it to the top left corner. And then we'll add an icon in the container. Make it smaller, give it a size of 10. Give it a color of primary. Let's look for the notification. Now, this is not 100% like the design. I made my own modifications. We're looking for notifications rounded. There we go. Alright, now the top row is complete. We'll also give this container an elevation just like the other container. And just like that, we're finished with our top row. Zoom out a little. Up next, we just have some text, which I'll move all the way to the left. I'll give it some padding of 16 all around except for the bottom. This says wonderful Indonesia. Has anyone ever been to Indonesia, or is anyone from Indonesia? Let me know in the comment section. We'll give this a size of 24. And a boldness of 800 extra bold. Next up, we'll add another text. Move it all the way to the left. Give it a padding of 8 at the top, padding of 16 on the left. And that should be fine. We'll give it 800 extra bold. And yes, we'll change the size to 16. And let's explore together. I'll change this color also to secondary text. There we go. Okay, now we're going to use a widget we've never used before, which is a tab bar. Just drag and drop it onto our screen. And by default, a tab bar comes with 3 tabs. We'll just change the names here. All, popular. This should say nearby. And then we'll just click on the tab bar and add another tab. We'll call this one recommended. Now, things don't seem to be fitting properly, so we'll just go ahead and change the font size. Up next, we'll change the selected color to be our primary color. Now, I mentioned that we have 3 tabs by default, and we've just added another one, but we will not work on all the pages. We'll just work on the first tab bar page. So it has a text, and we'll just delete that text, and we can start working on this page. So can you guess what widget will go in first? If you guessed column, then you guessed correct again. So first I'm going to drag a column onto our tab bar page. Then we'll add a container. We'll give it some padding on the top. We'll give it some padding on the left, bold 16. We'll then give it an infinite width and a height of 200. In this container, we're going to drag and drop a list view. List views have 2 directions. They can either be horizontal or vertical. We're going to make this one horizontal. And then we're going to drag a container into our list view. This container should have a width of 200 and a height of 200. So it's a square. I'll then remove this background color from our container, select my container, and clear color. There we go. Next, I'll give this container a border radius of 12. I'll give it an elevation of 1. And then I'll drag a column into the container. In this column, I'll start by adding an image. I'll give this image a width of 197 and a height of 119. I'll then give it a border radius of 12. I need to give my column some padding so that the child widgets have some space around the container. Next up, I'll add a row. give it a padding of 8 at the top. I'll add some text to this row, and then I'll add another row. Now remember that you can add any type of widgets to a layout element. It's there only for layout. I'll change my text to the name of the place. I cannot pronounce that. Ranu Kumbolo. In this row, I'll start by adding an icon. I will then add some text to this row. I can definitely pronounce 4.8. I'll then have some space between in the main row. I'll now give my icon a size of 18 and a padding of 4 to the right. Change the color to primary and look for a star rounded. And then I'll just change the 4.8 to the secondary color, like we have it in the design. Looks like this row is all good. I'll add another row. I'll also give this row a padding of 8 at the top. In this row, I'll first add an icon. I will then add some text. I'll give this icon a padding of 4 on the right. I will change its size to 18 like the other one. I will then change its color to primary. And I will look for the location on rounded icon. Location on. Rounded. There we go. Next up, we'll write where it's located. Again, I cannot pronounce that. I'll actually make this text a bit smaller. Okay, this container is good to go. Now, because we're going to have another one right next to it, we'll just give it a padding of 16 on the right. And then I'll click on it and just duplicate it. Command D on a Mac and Control D on Windows. And then I'll just come here and change the titles. I'll also change the location. It's a bit long, so you guys can just copy and paste from the Figma design. Okay, remember we uploaded our images, so I'm going to change the images. The first image should be image 2. Second one should be the third image. Just type 3. It should come out. There we go. There we go. You've now created a list view with some beautiful cards in it. Well done. Next up, we have a row. We'll give this row a padding of 16 all around except for the bottom. Because we know that we want some space between our widgets, we'll go ahead and have some space between. We'll just drag and drop some text. I will just duplicate this text since it's just text widgets on this row. Our first one says top place. The next one says view all. You know what? I'm going to change this to top places. We'll change its size. We'll change its boldness or its font weight. This one will just change the size to 16. And then we'll just drag and drop a list view. I'll give this list view a padding of 16 all around. The bottom will also get a padding of 16 this time. I will drag and drop a container onto my list view. This container will have an infinite width. It will have a height of 116. I'll give it a border radius of 12. And an elevation of 1. There we go. I'll start by adding a row into this container. In this row, I'll add an image. I'll give this image a width of 100 and a height of 100. I'll leave the border radius as 8. I'll then give this image a padding of 8 on the left, which will now be even on all sides. Next up, we'll add a column into the row. We'll give this column a padding of 8 all around. And this column will start by adding some text. We'll go ahead and change that title. Mount Bromo, I can definitely pronounce this. We'll give it a size of 18 pixels and a boldness of 1600, semi-bold. Next up, we'll add a row into this column. I'll then space everything evenly in my column. In this new row, I'll start by adding an icon. And then I'll add some text, if I can just get it right. Next up, on the cross axis of this column, I'll just push everything to the start. I'll now give my icon a size of 16 and a padding of 4 on the right. I will change its color to primary. I'll then change the text color to secondary text. And then because this row is just the same as the one at the bottom with just an icon and text, I'll just go ahead and select it and then duplicate it. Now I can change my icons. The first one will be location rounded, like the first time. I'll then type in my location. And 4.8. Next up, I'll select my column. Give it a padding of 16 at the bottom because we're going to add another one. Then select my column again and duplicate it. Command D on a Mac, Control D on Windows. Next up, I'll just change the second title. Now we can just go ahead and switch out our images, which will be image 4. And because we don't have another image for the last location, we'll just go ahead and use the same image, which will be image 4. And just like that, guys, you've successfully built your first travel app homepage. We used all the layout widgets. We played around with list views. We have a horizontal one. We have a vertical one. We played around with some colors. We changed our primary color. We used images in different types of ways. We used padding. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and like. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of FlutterFlow. Let me know what you think of the design. Now look out for the next video where I'll show you guys how to use actions and you can start implementing logic within your FlutterFlow apps. Have a good day and I'll see you on the next video.